Jamie will be next week. I was,
So do we need to make that?
just note that the monthly report will be the highway and not emergency management.
We probably had a huge crowd here. If it was the highway.
We have a heating issue. We sat here all day yesterday, freezing. We have no heat. Yeah,
So what are they doing? Somebody coming?
We got the facilities manager, yeah, so we will be able to watch.
He's gonna
He's gonna get.
throw another log in the fire.
Well, the office, sitting downstairs.
which one? Clerk of Courts? It's because they get a little bit of sun over there. We get no sun.
Well, let's just move the building.
Oh my gosh.
You're on the east side of the building. That's where the sun comes up first.
There.
Morning, Steve.
Steve, we're glad you're here this morning.
If we start turning blue, we might get really.
Let's get this going.
We'll get it going so we can get going.
It's out there.
Okay, it is 9 o'clock. I will call this meeting to order of the Codington County Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, October 19th. We are streaming live, and if you have a cell phone, if you could silence it, or if you need to take a call, if you could step out, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Waterman, would you lead us today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, call for public comment. Those will be items that are not on the agenda for information only. We will still accept phone calls from individuals. The two phone numbers are 882-6248 and 882-6297, and we will address those during the open part of our meeting. Number 3, conflict of interest items. Are there any for fellow commissioners?
No.
All right, the only change we have to our agenda is to change emergency manager director to the highway as far as monthly reports. With that, then I would look for a motion to approve the October 19th, 2021 agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Gable, second by Van Duzen. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Action to approve the October 12th, 2021 minutes of the Codington County Board of Commissioners. Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Gable. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Monthly reports. We'll start with the facilities manager. Good morning, Steve.
More.
Okay, well, I'll start out with the government building. Parking lot, of course, you see is complete. The only thing is got, gonna put some entrance signs and exit signs out at the end out there yet. And then gonna get some post covers put for the posts out there
In front of the door.
in front of the door and then along the sheriff's side too, so. And then, though there is new signage on the sheriff's side, and they put new signage up yesterday because they were all getting kind of all flaky and everything, so that's been completed yesterday. And then we'll kind of go in a little bit, there's a little chill in the courthouse and that, which kind of goes into the detention center side. The boilers over in the detention center side, there's one that's down, so that affects the courthouse because that sub supplies here to the courthouse, so they're shut down because of there's a major leak over there, some stuff. So we're hoping to have parts in yesterday is that, but of course how things are going, hopefully that he can come in today if they got the parts. So
At least we found out before January, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that issue can be done, resolved this week, especially if it's going to get really cool.
Mhm.
And then in the detention center also, the sewer has been completed. The staff is working on a shower down in the one, I don't know what they would call that cell block area that they had. They were redoing the old shower area. That one should be close to almost being completed this week. The ag, just some meetings and auctions, nothing major. Waiting for them to put a handicap, that handicap opener on the Expo 1 door and back entrance back there. Park, the park is closed, it's been winterized. And so far, everything looks pretty good. They had done the chip sealing here a week ago or so, and that looks pretty good. So I'll have it swept next spring after it sets up good. Let it time for that to set. And then I attended the South Dakota Park and Rec Association Conference, which was held here in Watertown this past week. And they had quite a bit of classroom classes or little meetings and stuff. And one of the things that I had gone to was about seasonal help, hard getting seasonal help, trying to turn around what kind of remedies that, you know, anybody's come up with any ideas. So the conclusion is it's just hard. A lot of people really don't want those part seasonal deals. They all are fighting the same battle, no matter what, throughout the whole state. The other thing that I attended was about marketing and trying to figure out ways to market the park a little more. But in the conversation, Wiley Park used to be that in the past they were a campground that people could reserve. They come the day of opening, they could reserve all season in their spots. They could pick weekends. They have went to now an online system. Plus, they're only booking out up to 120 days and there's no seasonal deal anymore. It is one thing that really kind of drew some controversy this past year at the park, our park, which I would look at the possibility of doing an online only, because these people that come out, these regular camping weekends, these like, for instance, the major holidays, the 3 major holidays, they have the rights right now to reserve their spot for the following year, which some people have complained we don't get a chance to come to our park during those times. I have considered looking at doing it so it's all completely online on that, make it a fair chance for everybody.
So you would get rid of that.
I'd get rid of
prior
that prior year booking.
booking.
I think that just, Madam Chair, if I can
Yes.
comment on that. So I like the idea of going all online only, but for some people, that's going to be a tough thing.
It is a tough thing. Well, I mean, they can still call in, but they can only call in up to that 95.
Okay, well, that's, so you're talking about really changing that policy.
Right,
Is it-
changing it, so nothing a year out again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
gets to be an automatic 120 days.
Yeah, oh, theirs is
Set that.
120, ours is set up at 95 days.
Okay.
State parks is at 90 days, and then you could book 2 weeks in advance. Our system doesn't allow that 2 weeks in advance. That's why we went to a 95 day. So that when I found that out, it didn't work. I went to a 104 day. Well, that gave an opportunity if somebody wanted to book the weekend after. So I looked at the system and looked like 95 day would work, that it wouldn't run into the other.
It is
other
tough. I've
weekend.
never really liked that idea of being able to book out a full year ahead of time. It just doesn't seem like it's very fair to those
No.
trying to get into the park.
Right, and the state parks is all 100%, except for, I should say, except for Custer State Park, I believe, and maybe, I don't know if Lewis and Clark is that way, but I do know Custer is, but that's because Custer is such a high volume of tourism and out-of-state tourism.
Right.
Is they'll do a book out a year ahead.
How about City Park?
But they doesn't reserve the right for somebody else to come in and book that spot again the following year.
What about City Park?
City Park is, at one time when they set it up, I believe it was at 60 days, but I think they're at 90 now.
But they don't do a prior
No
year.
prior year, no nothing.
So that would be something we need to implement. There are already some that are done for next year, so it'd have to be
Right,
something we
it would
put
be,
into place.
it would, if it would be, I'd have to get this done and put this in place, so that way it was all done before February, before any bookings and anything is opened up.
for the
So
next
it'd
year.
have to go for 2023.
Well, that's really more inclusive than exclusive
Right.
if we change it.
Yeah.
So,
Weed, they should be wrapping up today. They have a little bit of a road up to do at the by South Shore on the state road with the Kubota. So that will be pretty well wrapping that up, and then they'll be winterizing those units. And then district meetings start, of course, next week for weed district meetings, which I'll be going out west to attend them. The local one is in Redfield the following week.
I might ride out with you guys if you don't care that day to Redfield. We'll figure it
Currently,
out.
right now, I will be driving separate because
You're gonna be
Of course,
out west first.
noon on the 3rd, the risk management conference starts.
Mhm.
So I will attend the Redfield meeting until after their meeting at noon.
Mhm.
Then I'll depart from there. Currently, Ron Hartley is going, but called yesterday from Ron Mooring, which is on the weed board.
Mhm.
He is planning on attending
Okay,
that one too, so
coordinate
we
with
can
them.
coordinate with the ride together
Sounds good.
with them, so.
Also, just to note, out at the Ag Building, the Farmers Business and Banquet will not be held there this year, so that will be a change of venue for them.
Right, yep,
So that will be different, not having that.
which November gets to be mostly during November, but they'll have to see if the schools are doing turkey bingos and bingoes and stuff like that, so. Then West Nile, pretty well the season kind of wrapped up. Tomorrow, I have they're having an online mosquito conference being held tomorrow. And in order to get a recertification again for our license, we have to append that online so that to get recertified. Any questions?
I'm sure, I was out at the Memorial Park just to use the nature trail.
Mhm.
I noticed all the roads are blocked off. Is it possible to?
Well,
So we had a park far away from the nature trail, and it wasn't a big deal,
Right.
but some people might not know.
right
where it is.
It always has been, always closed up. The only thing is that main one wasn't closed for the last couple of years since they put that bike path in. There used to be a post and a gate there.
Yeah.
But since that is, so we ended up turning around and put a gate and a barricade. So that, I cannot block the bike path.
Yeah.
Are you talking about
We can
on
park by-
east of the
Yeah, where you
house
park,
there?
where you park by the nature trail. I mean,
By the nature trail.
yeah, that's kind of, I mean,
Right.
it's not a huge deal. We're out there to walk anyway, but
Right.
some people might not know.
I have been approached by somebody if they could turn around and if we could groom the nature trail this winter with snow, because we got some people interested in cross country
Oh, yeah,
skiing.
I would like that.
So
But that's finding somebody to
I-
do that.
Yeah, I have not been back in there till my daughter did some senior pictures, and I don't know how you don't get lost. I mean, it's just
So
a
you just
maze.
stay on the trail.
Well, it goes everywhere, like,
Eventually it'll come out.
It's a very nice trail, and you could.
And I mean, I guess we kind of blocked it somewhat so that people aren't going up all by the house all the time. So
Right.
that kind of, because they have, the walls had came back, they were up north, up in northern Minnesota, so we had for the past couple weeks. And they came back on Friday and they left Monday, headed south.
just for their privacy kind of is why you
Yep.
basically do that now.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate to have that trail out there. It's nice. It's a nice getaway
Yeah,
for
I-
folks if they want to walk on it.
I was surprised,
To
like,
go through.
Is there any, does the city have a tour?
I don't believe the city
The
has.
snowmobile club
Snowmobile
does.
club does, but
But I don't
I don't
think
know
they'd
if they
get in
have
there.
something that narrow that would go. It would have to be done with probably with a snowmobile or something. And then-
There's a grooming
There,
attachment.
I know there, yeah.
They do it at.
use your
Shovels.
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 Doesn't work.
They'll give them something
I'm
to do all
across the
winter.
street, so the place that does it is the state park in Brook, Oakwood Lakes, they do it.
Oakwood Lake.
They may not, but,
Well, then I could probably get a
Yeah.
hold of Beth Smith, I believe he's runs the
Yeah.
Oakwood Parks down there. So,
It's a towed on I think it's towed on a four-wheeler to do it properly. Just run with a snowmobile.
I'm
That's
curious in terms of how much use it would actually get.
I don't know.
Maybe we could put the feelers out and see if the public's interested in
Right.
that. If it is, then
It's good exercise. You should do it.
The snowmobile club has a groomer, but
I
the
get
groomer's
that.
much bigger than the trail.
Right.
Finding the time.
yeah.
time sometimes. All right.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yep.
Anybody else have any other questions for Steve?
Nope.
All right, thank you,
Good,
Steve.
thanks, Steve.
You bet.
All right, let's move on to highway then. With Rick, he is here. Morning, Rick.
Good morning. I could shorten it. Well, first I want to start with, on September 22nd, our guys helped the city street department with watering the gun range.
Hmm.
They do not have a distributor truck or a chipper. And we sprayed the oil. We split a tank of oil with them so we could fill our MC70 that we use to patch holes.
Mhm.
We paid for part of the load and then they paid for the other half. And we hauled the sand from Dunnick's and used our chip sealer to cover it up because they don't have either one of those machines. And we hauled approximately 162 ton of sand for them
Out of the gun range, you
out of
said?
the gun range. Yes,
That's for the parking area?
yes.
Well, that's a nice cooperation, I guess, if we can work
Yeah,
together.
because we
Yeah,
work
it's very
together on a
nice.
few other things, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's great.
Also.
Especially when we were able to fill your other tank with. It's kind of a win.
This is for the sale we had. Surplus equipment. I thought the sale went pretty good. As you can see, I haven't received the list for the smaller stuff at the bottom. But the one truck brought 15,000. The oldest one brought 14,000. The one brought 19,750. The 1 ton pickup, which was a 2-wheel drive, brought $3,200. The old 1/2 ton pickup we had that had almost 200,000 miles on it brought $6,300. The old backhoe brought 13,500. And the Dodge pickup that had 400,000 miles on it, the rear end was out of it, still brought $2,200. So I just wanted to share that. Like I said, I haven't received the list of some of the smaller stuff that we had on there.
Looks like overall, things sold
Yeah,
pretty well.
yeah, it sold pretty good. I was glad to see it, so.
Yeah,
Which one of those trucks was the one with the newer motor in it? Was that the 36?
Yep,
Okay.
that brought the 19,750.
Yeah.
and that motor had been put in how many years ago? So we had how many
2
years
years.
of use on that?
Yeah, we had almost 50,000 miles on that
Hmm.
in the last 2 years, so
Wow.
that truck had a lot of repairs.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was still,
Yep. Okay, mowing is still going on. We should have 2 cuts on everything this week. And one of the mowers has already started to clean up, mowing, going, and anything that sticks up higher than the road, we try and mow down. This year, it's gonna be a little more challenging, because everything's so wet. They won't be able to get in the ditches, some of the fields, along the fence lines where the weeds grow. We probably aren't gonna be able to get in some of that. We'll just have to see what happens. The guys hauled, the weather's been a challenge lately to do anything. We were able to haul some field rock that farmers were willing to give up their rock piles, and we run it over our grizzly to clean it up, to make riprap for spots that we have where need a little more rock here and there. So we did a little of that. The culvert inventory should be done this week. That's been a challenge, trying to get a few of the farmers to, when it's nice, they're trying to combine, and
Yeah.
so,
Busy.
is that what the townships?
yes.
And so did all the townships participate to have the highway do it, or did some go on their own?
Some of them went through and located the structures. So when our guy came, they could just go to the structures that they needed to go to.
Nice, but overall, they had you guys doing
Yes.
all of them? Okay,
Yes.
well, that was
There-
good.
There was only 2 townships that didn't have any structures that qualified,
Wow,
which
which ones were those?
Richland and Richland. And another one, I can't think of it right
Okay.
off the top of my head.
That's all right.
So just on, is with the app and all this stuff, is that pretty easy to use? I mean, looks like it's.
It's not bad. There's like 75 questions
Mhm.
that,
For each.
For
for each structure.
Oh,
so it takes a little while, then you gotta take pictures of it, measure it.
wow, right,
So that's why I wanted somebody from each township to go with our guy,
yeah,
so they can help measure and they know pretty much where all the structures are.
Yeah.
So, and some of the townships took quite a while. There was quite a few
yeah, I'd
structures in
imagine,
some of the
yeah.
townships.
More than they probably realize themselves even.
Yep, until they started going through it. And
Hmm.
I think today they have, it's either today or tomorrow. I think it's today. They have one of the Kransburg Township, which is almost 2 townships together.
Yeah, north and south.
So there's quite a few that they'll be going through on that.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad they've cooperated and I'm glad that it went, that you guys, just for the consistency of it, that we kind of just did that, put it together for them, so.
Yeah, it's working out. So
Yeah.
we'll,
It's
when it gets
well,
all done, then we'll have a combined issue of getting them all together and looking at them to see which ones are where it should start at.
yeah.
'Cause
We
one
need
that
to
I
get
always-
something in place for that. And I
Yeah.
do have a template from Brookings County, what they use. Maybe
Mhm.
you've seen it too,
Yeah.
that do we need to get something in place so that we have criteria that we're gonna go by, so we keep it
For-
fair and
yeah, for
even.
awarding things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kinda-
You know, and what your, where it starts out at as far as pay,
Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
for each
What's our,
structure.
what's our cut,
Well,
like
yeah.
what portion?
Well, I think that, so the statute gives us the criteria. It's just how do you set it up into a procedure to,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But we get to decide how much of that percentage wise, I believe that we
Yeah.
do and they do, you know,
Yeah.
and that will determine then how far your money goes by how much we end up paying per
Yeah,
structure.
yeah.
So, and also it's really to our advantage to do it this way, that we get them all in there, because that is what's going to determine what our,
You
the
know,
amount of dollars we get,
to
so.
see if more money gets allocated next year.
So on that one, it was, the statute says that the township has to have a certain level of levy or an opt-out. Is that,
They're gonna fix that in
they
legislature,
are,
I
that
think.
was my question. So is the
Yeah.
towns and townships are.
They're taking
working on
that back because they need to get that out of there.
All right.
Because there's some, if they can afford it, they don't need to put that extra levy
Right.
on their people. That's
Yeah.
silly to do
I
that,
think
so.
it'd be- My opinion would be better to say minimum percentage, matching percentage or something like that. That would
Yeah.
be what would come to mind.
But that will, I think they are definitely talking about going in and fixing, there was like 2 or 3 items
Yeah.
to clarify, so we'll see.
Yeah, and that's the percentage that, you know, that you come up with, you know, like, say one structure costs $50,000 to do, you know, what you're gonna have to come up with to.
We gotta
So-
decide how much
But
we're
yeah,
gonna chip
that's-
into it.
That's up to you guys to decide on what.
Yeah, that's the part. That isn't set by legislature, that's
No, and that's
us.
the part, but you
It's
could,
local.
well, either way, yeah. I agree.
Because there's quite a few structures out there that need to be replaced.
Yeah, and then depending on how much we chip in, then that money will go away faster, so we're only gonna be able to do, you know, how
Yeah.
many each year.
Yeah,
So,
there's
yeah.
gonna be way more than what you'll be able to do in a year.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sure it's gonna take quite a while, because some of those, like you say, if they're bigger, then
Yeah, because
it's gonna cost a little bit.
one that sticks out in my head is there's a bridge over north of Henry. And I think the load limit on it is 5 ton. You can't hardly go across it with a pickup, you know,
Mhm.
so,
Something needs to happen.
yeah, that's
It's gonna be way more.
stuff like that.
way more than
What did we
they
get,
gave
Cindy?
us
Do you-
that fund.
Do you remember the amount? Was it
Yeah, that's-
64?
I think
$54,579.21.
So since this year, that pot, whatever you guys' expense was, you'll take that out of there, but the rest can stay in and be
Yep.
used then towards the amount we
Yep.
get next year.
Because our guy that's doing it his wage will come out of that and
Mhm.
pick up, but
Yeah,
Just one other thing is, when we come up with this procedure, we have to have I think, a way to set the priority, you know,
Yep.
of all, you kind of like what they do with, you know, at our level with the big program. and the
I
5-year
think
plan.
they do have that, Lee. I
Is
think
that listed?
that
in
I'm
how-
not sure.
We might have
they were
to,
going to have that, because when I was talking to them, when they were doing it, I said that